So,
Hello, can you hear me?
yeah, I just want to cause I was binge watching your debates from the past, and I saw that one of your debates was with your mom about the anthem protest,
hmm
and yesterday, my question is that what issue do you have with the right when it comes to criticizing Colin Kaepernick's protest? Because if he has the right to protest, the right also has the right to criticize his protest. Do you have any issues with that?
No, I don't think I've ever said in my entire life that the right shouldn't be allowed to criticize his protest. I just think their criticisms are really stupid.
Well, that's your opinion. I think that they also think Kaepernick's protest is really stupid.
Yeah, we don't
And
disagree on any of this. Wait, what about it?
well, I just want to see if you had any issue with that because I know that was like a really hot topic. I
Yeah,
know
I've
it's
got an
kind of
issue with
old
it. I think
now.
their criticisms are really fucking stupid. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you could make an argument for that, but I heard people on the left saying that they're trying to stop Kaepernick's freedom of speech, which is
Well,
not the case because
no, that is the case. When the sitting president was making statements that seemed to be pressuring the NFL into not allowing this types of behavior, that would be considered an attack on freedom of speech. It's actually there's a statute that makes that type of specific thing illegal even. But I mean, those are criticisms I'm aware of. But in terms of whatever the NFL wants to do or other people being critical, like that's whatever.
I mean, I guess my understanding of freedom of speech is that the government can't arrest you for what you say unless you're calling for violence.
Okay.
Hear anyone on the right calling for Kaepernick to get arrested?
Well, it wasn't him getting
There's a
arrested. It was Donald Trump that was like pressuring private organizations to fire somebody for political reasons, which seems not good.
I mean, what did he say exactly? Did he say that he should be out of the NFL?
I don't know. I gotta find it
Or
again. Hold on.
can we agree that you don't have the right to protest at your job?
No, of course not. You
Can you?
absolutely have the right to protest at your job. NFL. Donald Trump blasts NFL anthem protesters, quote unquote, get that son of a bitch off the field.
I mean,
Um,
he's not calling for him to get
I feel like he was. I have to find.
Hold on, let's get back to the right to protest at your job. I mean, can you imagine you employing someone and the person does something that makes you lose money? The logical thing to do is fire him, right?
If they want to, sure.
So
Trump.
I mean,
NFL should fire anthem protest players. He called on NFL owners, many of which he claimed were friends of his, to instantly fire players who protest or kneel during the national anthem.
okay, so I don't agree with that at all. I mean,
Okay.
they, I mean, still, firing someone is different from arresting them, I guess.
We're not talking about firing someone. We're talking about a politician encouraging people to fire people. I'm pretty sure even in the U.S. it's illegal, but regardless of the illegality of it, it's just very uncomfortable that the president of the United States would be telling a private entity to fire someone else when they're doing things that are constitutionally protected.
Think Colin Kaepernick is out of NFL because of Donald Trump?
People argue that he is, but I don't know enough about the NFL to really know if that's true or not.
Okay, because I feel like it's due to just the boycott and the backlash the NFL received.
Okay, yeah,
That's why he's
maybe.
not in the NFL.
I mean, you kind of just restated the same thing. He's not in it because of the kneeling thing, right?
He's not in it because maybe the company he's working for is losing money because of that. You
Oh,
have the right to protest at your.
sure. Okay, yeah, sure.
I think that the kneeling was a good strategy to get his message across.
Yeah, we're talking about it now, right?
We're not talking about police brutality. We're talking about the whole conversation kind of changed to police brutality to should he kneel? Should he not kneel? Is it right to kneel? No one. I guarantee you, half of the people don't even know why he's protesting. So, I think it was really stupid of him to do it
I
because
mean, I feel like a lot of people know why he was protesting. I don't know if we can find polling data on that, but I'm pretty sure most people know why. But the conversation about how you should protest or how black people should be allowed to protest in the United States, that's a valuable conversation to have as well. Because white people generally get really fucking mad whenever black people find ways to protest.
I mean I don't they get mad if I don't think they're saying that he shouldn't be allowed to do it. They're just saying he shouldn't do it. I think there's a difference between that.
Yeah, there's a
Also,
difference, but that in this case, I don't think that difference matters much. There is a difference, but I don't think it matters here. And I mean, like, if you're getting mad at a guy literally taking a knee during the national anthem, it kind of just sounds like if you're white, you really just don't want black people ever protesting in the United States. Like, it's one of the most harmless protests I've ever seen in my life.
this some people just feel that it's disrespectful.
Yeah, that's what
I mean,
protesting
they could have.
is. I mean, what do you mean? I mean, technically, even what you just said is completely wrong because originally he was going to do something different, but he decided to kneel because that was the respectful way to do it. So, I mean, like, even that's not true what you just said.
Originally just sat during the anthem, but then he started kneeling.
Yeah.
But yeah, and but I still think that it was really stupid strategy because if you want to get some laws changed, you need as many as people on your side. You got to convince people that why you're right and why laws should be changed. So why would you do something that would make half of the country hate you? Man, what happened?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
My other point.
you.
Like I don't. Again, why would you do something? You want to convince people that what you're.
If we follow
You,
your argument to its logical extension, what you're basically saying is no person should ever protest ever at all. Do you acknowledge that or do you disagree with that?
no, I never said
Do
that.
you
But
agree that any form of protest is going to make some group of people not like you? That by definition, when you protest things, it's usually because some side is in opposition to you? Do you acknowledge that or no?
well, it depends on
Okay, can you
what
give me an
if
example? Can you give me an example of a protest where somebody is protesting and one side doesn't dislike the other?
okay. um. Well, this is a protest, and you probably think this person is stupid or crazy. But look at what Kanye West or Kim Kardashian did. They wanted to get the prison reform. They want to create the prison reform bill, and I don't know if it passed through the Senate yet. But they went to the White House and they talked to the president peacefully.
You don't
There
think
was
there's a
no like,
fuck ton of. First of all, that's not all Kanye West has done. Kanye West has done a fuck ton of protesting via video interviews and via tweets and via appearances on radio programs. Secondly, there's a fuck ton of people that hate Kanye West for the protesting that he's done. So these fail on both points.
who's hating him.
Like fucking even other big rappers. I think Jay-Z called him out. I think Snoop Dogg called him
Yeah,
out. Like, what do you mean? And tons of people as well.
here they. So why would what Kanye West did is way more effective? Way more effective than what Kaepernick has done.
Okay, but
So
it
why
failed
are
both of your points earlier. It succeeded in getting other people mad at him, and it was a public protest. Like both of the things earlier you said you shouldn't do, he did. Why is it
right
okay?
now? I'm asking you if Kaepernick's protest was effective,
Yeah, I think it brought a
and
lot of
if it
awareness
was
to the issue, a lot more than what was there before. It got the whole country, it got the whole world talking about it. Yeah.
they were talking about the anthem protest. They weren't talking about the reason why he was
Both things
protesting.
are worth talking about, I think. How can you protest effectively as a black person in the United States and then bringing issues to the things that he was protesting?
Do you agree what Kanye did was more effective than Kaepernick?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say that. Like, what's more effective? Like,
Do you know? Well, do you know if the prison reform bill was passed?
I don't know how much
I
influence Kanye West had on that piece of legislation.
mean, he went to the White House and he talked about
He
how.
went to the White House and he rambled like a manic person for 30 minutes and said absolutely nothing of value. Did you
So
watch it? I watched it. It
yeah,
was it was
okay.
the
So
ramblings of a man who was insane.
I know that's why I said you might think he's crazy, but I something that I noticed during his visit to the White House was that he said that stop and frisk, and one of the reporters said uh, Donald Trump is for it, and Donald Trump said that I'm open to change my mind. That's just that saying he's open to change his mind is more effective than Kaepernick kneeling during the national anthem, and it started some like
How about being
you
open to
know,
changing his mind about a border wall that kept the government shut down for over a month? Seems like he's not
okay.
very open to having his mind changed.
Uh, did he just reopen the government today?
Yeah, after we had gone on 50% longer than the longest shutdown in recorded history.
But eventually happened, and this I think that he just opened the walls to get the like
That's how you're going to brush
started.
that off, is by saying, well, at least it eventually happened.
No, I'm saying that I'm just like, let's get back to what Kanye West versus Kaepernick.
Okay, so Kanye
I
West went
still
to the White House, was rambling like a crazy man. By the way, did it all
thought
publicly, but
uh, uh, they had also a closed meeting too.
okay. He did a lot of it publicly as well,
He
but
did, yeah, he did more for the black community than Kaepernick.
he
In
what?
the president, he did more for the black community than Colin Kaepernick has
The
done so
black
far.
community seems to disagree because a fuck ton of the black community seems to have a problem.
Yeah, because they're virtual signal. They don't. I feel like a lot of people don't really want change.
Okay.
Want to say, yeah, I mean, come on. It was isn't like one of the biggest issues in the black community was like prison sentences of like first years or something like that.
Wait, I'm just curious. Do you still go to school, or how old are you?
I'm 25. I work.
Okay. Um. Well, I don't even remember what the question was. What was it?
I'm just making a point that Kanye West has done more for the black community than Kaepernick.
And why do you say that again?
He talked to the president. He talked about stopping stop and frisk. He talked about prison reform. What has Kaepernick done?
Brought attention to the Black Lives Matter movement.
And
What?
how does that do it?
By getting everybody to notice it and talk about it.
Again, they're talking about the kneeling. They're not talking about the
I
main.
think both
So
conversation points are worth having.
I disagree with. I mean, yeah, it's worth
You don't think
having,
it's
but
worth talking about how black people should be allowed to protest in the United States?
that wasn't his main goal.
It
His main
wasn't, but
goal
that's
was,
what it turned into because white people got so fucking mad at a black person protesting.
well, they feel
Didn't
like kneeling
Copernic and
was
Kane do the
very
same thing?
disrespectful.
They both used the social standing they had
Yeah, but
They have the
obtained
right. They
through their
have, like you
careers
said,
to
they have the
push their
right to
political.
say that, and they have to the right to concerns.
wait, what?
Have the right to voice their concerns.
No one is talking about the right to voice their concerns. Why do you keep thinking that when I say people are stupid, I think that they should have their rights to voice their concerns taken away? I'm not saying that. That's like a really weird.
What's the issue then?
My issue is that their arguments are fucking stupid. I'm not talking about taking anyone's First Amendment right away. I'm just saying that what they're saying is really fucking dumb.
I mean, I personally don't really care that he kneels, and I think that he should kneel. I mean, he has the right to protest, but I don't think he has the right to protest.
What?
If I don't think he has the right to protest job. You don't have the right to do that. You could protest. You could do that on in your own time whenever you want, but just like a football game, I might not want to see that. And if he continues to do it, well, I'm not personally, not me, but I see why people boycott the NFL, and I see why NFL lost money, and I see why he's no longer in the NFL.
Okay. All right. Any other final points?
You don't agree with anything I just said, right?
No, it's one of the. It's really, really, really dumb. but I think it's too much. We'd have to cover so much ground to have this conversation. I'd rather just kill myself.
I mean, what don't you agree though? Like
Pretty
I
much
thought I
every
made
single thing you've
logical.
said.
I feel like I made a bunch of logical.
Yeah, I know, and I don't know if it's because we either disagree on reality or because your logic is broken, and I'm too lazy to go through and figure out the problems. Or if, you know what? Actually, fuck it. Let's do it. Okay.
Come on, let's
One
do it.
thing, yeah, sure. One thing at a time. Why shouldn't you be allowed to protest at your
Holy
job?
shit, it's Tommy Wiseau.
Because you might cost your company money, and you're not there to protest.
Where should you be allowed to protest then?
You should be allowed to protest if I guess in America. I don't know the
No, so
exact
where
laws,
should you
but
be
you
allowed to protest?
permit and protest wherever he wants.
But not at your
I guess
job.
no.
Should you be allowed to go on strike?
Should I mean, sure, right? Yeah.
Okay. What if you go on strike and you protest outside of your work in a public area? Do you think that should be okay?
Yeah, it should be. It, yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay. What if you protest at your job and you want to protest at your job, but your employer has the right to fire you if they do?
Isn't that what just happened?
Yeah, I'm asking if this should be okay.
It should be okay to protest
At your
at their
job, but if
job.
they want to fire you for
Yeah.
it, they can do that. Okay, so then what's your problem with what Kaepernick did?
Problem with what Kaepernick. Well, my
Well, wait,
problem
hold on.
is
Just in terms of what he should be allowed to do, it seems like he did what he was allowed to do. If the NFL wanted to fire him, they could have, but they didn't. So it seems like everything was fine, right?
my problem is first of all, my argument is his protest was ineffective.
Okay, but you haven't even made that argument.
I,
The only argument you've made was that Kanye was more effective than him, which I'm not necessarily sure is true. But even if it was true, you still haven't argued that his protest is ineffective.
it was ineffective because you didn't get people on your side. You have to get the point of protesting is to make people aware of your situation and get people on your side.
Okay, the fact that there is international conversation about Kaepernick, I would argue, got a lot more eyes on that issue than have ever been on it before. I don't know how you can possibly. The fact that we're talking about it right now seems to be evidence of that.
Well, the argument wasn't about police brutality. It was about the
Some of it
protest. And
was. I
again,
mean, there were people arguing about the protest too, but I mean, like, that could be just as important. If black people are never able to protest in this country without people getting upset about it, maybe that has to be solved before any other issue can stop. But I mean, I'm pretty sure there have been some districts who switched to body cams and shit as a result of a lot of the BLM protests, and I mean, a lot of. Sorry, go ahead.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, so I no, I mean, yeah, I just didn't want to. I mean, some things have changed around the country as a result of the eyes being brought to the BLM issue, and then being able to talk about who should be allowed to protest where. I think is a really good conversation to have as well. Maybe even more important. So
Yeah, that's just like the 2 points I wanted to make. I just want to say he has the right to protest, and people have the right to criticize his protest, and I think his protest was ineffective.
yeah, no one has ever said people don't have the right to criticize his protest. I've never heard anyone say that before in my entire life.
Uh, well, I, I thought that you had an issue with people criticizing him, so
Well, yeah, because I
that's
think
why I
they're
wanted.
stupid, but I don't think that should be illegal. They're allowed to criticize him, and I'm allowed to criticize the people that criticize him, right?
But I also could criticize those people who criticize
Yeah,
the protest.
literally no one is arguing against this. Everyone has the right to criticize everyone else, right?
Yeah, and no one is calling for Kaepernick to be jailed.
No one said that, but people were calling for him to be fired. The president of the United States was.
Okay, and yeah, this
You don't have
is
you don't think that's
2 points.
scary that the president of the United States can call for private companies to fire other employees because of a protest? You don't think that's kind of scary, especially when it's related to freedom of speech stuff?
I don't agree with what he said or what he did, what he
Okay,
called
cool. Well, then
for.
we're on the
Yeah.
same side then. Then that's a huge problem that Trump did it. Okay.
But we agree that he shouldn't have the president shouldn't have called for Kaepernick to be fired.
Mm-hmm.
That, he's allowed to protest, but we disagree that where he should be able to protest. We
I mean, people
disagree
should
about
use
that.
whatever positions they have in order to do their protesting. I mean, Kanye West does the same thing. I mean, Kanye West protests in his fucking music. Kanye West protests on all of his social media platforms and his public appearances. Like, I mean, and then Kaepernick did it in the NFL where he was biggest. Like, both people protested pretty similar ways.
Okay, but do you think if Kaepernick was invited to the White House, he should go or not?
I mean, it's up to him. There's a lot to think about there.
Okay, do you? I still like. Why wouldn't you go? I feel like if you're
Maybe if you go, you feel like it's showing approval for the administration, or maybe if you go, it feels like you're stepping out and causing peace with the side that you still want to
uh,
rectify an issue. I mean, I don't know. There could be a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to go.
well, what would that matter if you care about your community and you knowing that you going there, you will try
Maybe you
to
care
you will
about your
fix.
community and you want to fix a problem, but by going to the White House, it feels like you're showing solidarity with them, and it makes it feel like the problem's been fixed. So you're not actually helping your community by doing it.
I don't think that's what happened when Kanye went to the White House. And did they not? Do you want to talk about the prison reform bill? Do you think it was a good step
I'm
to
honest to God,
reform
I
our
don't know that
prisons?
much about it, but I haven't heard Kanye West trying to push any ledgers or whatever into some legislation. I don't know what Kanye West had to do with the prison reform bill.
It was due to Kim Kardashian and
You think
Kanye
Kim
going to the White
Kardashian
House.
and Kanye West are the reason why prison reform got passed?
Yes, I do. Start the conversation, and usually stuff like that aren't on platform. Like they don't really care
Even
about
if
that.
that was true, what does that have to do with Kaepernick? Like maybe they were more successful because they were aiming at a smaller issue, or maybe they were more successful because they had more money or whatever. I mean,
What does that have to do with Kaepernick? This is like two types of. Well, I mean, Colin Kaepernick has a lot of money, so I don't think money has any issue. But
wait, isn't
I think
Kardashian worth like over like hundreds of millions of dollars? Hold on, let me check. I don't know.
if Kaepernick wants a meeting at the White House, or he wants a meeting with not the White House, but any other politician, we could probably get it.
Kardashian is worth over 300 million dollars.
And Kaepernick I think he got $100 book deal recently, and he was on the advertising side. He probably got a lot for that too. The
Okay.
money is not the issue; it's the way. Uh,
Well, no, money is pretty important because it
yeah,
determines
yeah,
a lot in terms of
but
funding campaigns and whatnot.
the two, I don't think it's an issue. And yeah, I just don't think his protest was effective.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, listen, I love you. I appreciate the conversation, buddy. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.